So 7 o'clock. So I'd like to call to order the June 11th Ports and Harbors Advisory Board meeting. May, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Flora, Mr. Hemme, Mr. Bethel.
Yeah.
Mr. Castle, Mr. Cockrum,
Here.
Mr. Youngblood,
Here.
Mr. Lundy,
Here.
Mr. Rhodes,
Here.
and Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Okay. Join me in saying the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right.
Move to approve last month's minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that passes. Communications, so we have the Presser letter. Do you want to talk about that later on during their director's report? Okay. And then persons to be heard, we have Peter Polino, is that how you? Yeah. Sure, yeah.
Well, fortunately, the only people I know here would be somewhat Craig and May, but I'm a charter fisherman and we use docks down here quite a bit. Picking up passengers and dropping them off and that, and you guys are well aware how a lot of that goes, but I'm going to start with today's incident if I can. And I was bringing people back to berth 4, and as I was getting off the boat, I was going to tie it up to the bull rail. The gentleman ran down, the yellow vest on, security, telling me, get off the dock, get off the dock. I didn't know what was going on, or why this was even happening. And he told me I couldn't be there as long as the ship was there and the lines were overhead. Then we, went under the lines to drop people off. And ever since dock 5 or 4 and 5, 3 and 4 have been there, I mean, that's just kind of how it goes. In the morning, you're not allowed to, while they're tying up, go in there, and it makes perfect sense. Or if they were dropping lines, you wouldn't want to be in there anyways. But that's, part of what we pay for that charter loading zone and permit, and you get chased out of there. And I didn't appreciate the way they handled that. And I found out later on that the person that gave the order for this guy to come down was Olivia, and I have no idea who she is, but I believe that what she did was wrong and having me leave there. I mean, I was able to drop the people off, but I'd never heard of anything like that. It's always been once the lines were in or above or tightened up that we could go in and pick people up in the morning and drop them off, and it's never been an issue until today. So I just believe that was maybe confused about in the morning you can't be there when they're tying up, and just carried that through the day, and that means we wouldn't be able to use dock 4 at all. While the ship's in there, we can't use it. So I don't know who would check into that, or okay.
I talked to her.
Okay.
So she told, is there to talk? How does it work?
Yeah, no,
Yeah, and she told me about it sometime this afternoon when I went down there. And we cleared it up. So part of it was confusion.
Okay. And that's what I believe
Yeah.
happened. Honestly, I
So-
think that, but nonetheless, the people on the boat were a little shook up over that
Yeah.
incident. And
We have, so tomorrow morning, it'll be the first time we have everybody together.
Okay.
So we're doing a 2-hour go through with everybody, what they're expected to do. And then Olivia is one of the supervisor harbor masters. she's just back from being in school. She's only done it for a year. So I meet with those folks individual as a group, 5 of them. I'll do that on Thursday, but they'll also be part of the conversation tomorrow. So they're going to get a double shot. And what I told Olivia and what I'll tell them on Thursday is as long as they have a port pass and it's not an endangerment to anybody or it's not a safety concern, we're going to, you allow it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
she
so
told me
that's-
about it. She didn't have a boat name. I was going to call whoever it was.
It was me.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're here. So, yes,
So,
we knew about it and we'll fix her up.
and part of the other part of that is why this is a working, city float has always been a working dock, and it is so plugged up with liverboards. And I understand that, there's challenges and where you're gonna put all these boats, people, and I don't have an answer to that either, at this point. But there's just a lot, there's only so many spaces, and we get kicked off the yellow zone when the Seabird comes in, and I had hit Craig one time because they kicked a guy off and he went tied up in front of the Lucian Ballard, and he was well out of the way, and the dock guy came down and chased him out of there too, and he goes, "Where do we park? Where do we tie up?" It's a problem, and you got people tying up, and I know should be aware of this, tying up. There was a trawler tied up on berth 4 the other day when a ship was coming in. The people tied up in the white zone overnight and not leaving. Those are loading and unloading zones, and there's a handicap zone down there that the vessel's been in well over a year, and I was like, man, I personally think that should be for everybody, like to load and unload. And, some of these guys, they're walkers or canes, and, it's just hard to get people in and out, but nonetheless, they're there. So, and I didn't really come here, and I don't want to try to upset the apple cart or anything, but I just was wondering this afternoon after this happened, I don't know that anybody in here is a charter operator. I don't recognize anybody that way, maybe commercially, but the advisory board, but maybe if it was possible to get some of the charter guys, the more responsible guys, to be able to meet with you or these guys once in a while as an advisory and say, these are the problems and challenges we're faced with, and see if we can get some help down there.
Could you show me what we're talking about?
Sitting there. I'm more than welcome to come and speak at our meetings. Anybody-
On the inside of 4,
Yeah, on the inside.
on the inside.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
So, anyways, I guess there was other people that were going to come and talk about this, but it's like I'm an army of one. It may not. To me right now, it seems like this is a whole lot of.
Would you,
But
would you like to see on next month, like an agenda item to talk about loading zones in the port?
well, I believe it would help. It would maybe, if nothing else, clear the air. There's a lot of tension down here, and we're a community. Regardless of how big Ketchikan's getting, or in a couple of days, 19,000 people are going to be here. We're still here working together, and we're all trying to make a living at this.
Where do you
And
go if you can't get your primary spot? Do you have back?
Well, there isn't really a primary spot, per se, but I have driven down here and shuttled them back to the marina. I'm on float 15 behind the VFW, and have had to do that to go get them.
What's your boat?
The Karen Shea, it's a 28-foot glass fly. So, it's, I'm trying to think of can we do a shuttle? Can there's, and then that might create more problems on the city docks.
Kind of plugged up behind the VFW right now.
Yeah, I know. Gentlemen, I'm looking for help, and I'm willing to help. Okay.
Yeah, we can, if because any of us can put something on the agenda. So for the next meeting, we can have a discussion on there. And if you want to,
Get a hold of some of the guys and
yeah, and we can have a discussion about the
okay,
voting
I'd like
zones
that.
and stuff.
I'd like to do that.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Set for persons to be heard. Unfinished business, I have none on the agenda. And so new business, reschedule July 9th, 2024 meeting to July 2nd or July 16th, because the city council chamber is not available. So does anyone have a preference or
I say the 16th.
16th? Does the staff have preference?
I'm here all summer.
Okay.
We hope beyond.
Right. Okay. So is that a motion to have it on the 16th?
Yeah.
We have a second?
Second.
Okay, been moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor of moving it to the 16th?
Aye.
Aye.
That motion passes. And looks like we're moving on to Ports and Harbors Director's Report.
All right. Cover Harbor, James is stuck here first, and James is back, I think, next Wednesday. I guess, Tuesdays. He'll be here for both those dates in July, so the 16th for sure. So full-time maintenance, that is still open. Since this was written, we did get an applicant, and I'm gonna interview him on Thursday. Town guy, so see how that goes. Andrew, one of the maintenance guys, will sit on that telephonic. So please get an interview out of the way and see what's going on.
Is that to take Nick's place?
Yes.
That's
The
that'll
third
be-
full-time maintenance. Summer temps, they are all full. 3 harbor masters, 2 maintenance, and Robin King is the customer service rep for 3rd year in a row. The office is now open 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So that's part of Robin's job. She's there on the weekends and helping everybody out, the harbor masters. Harbor operations, summer cruisers arriving daily. Some days see more than 20 vessels arriving. Operating at full capacity almost every day. And I spoke to the harbor masters yesterday, this morning, and they're packed. So there's no room. They're looking on, the GIS, and there's people coming. It's full. We could definitely use another whole harbor if we can get that on the agenda. Debris grant submitted on May 23rd. First round of selections will be awarded July 24th. So that would be for like the derelict vessel removal, stuff like that. Thomas Basin loading zone, new sign was installed, and just like everything else, paint wise, waiting on a weather window. So maybe next year. Piling replacement funds have been approved. Pool engineering will be in at some point this month to do 2 of the pilings. And the Port and Harbor Director position is being advertised nationwide at this time. Questions on cover?
Where's the 2 pilings located?
Do you know exactly where they're at?
I mean, is it Bar Harbor North?
Yeah,
I think it's Bar Harbor North.
Last time you said it was 13 and 12.
Good memory.
Well, because I'm on 13.
Okay.
You said it was at the very, very end.
It's
But 12, I guess, is
Somewhere,
further in.
yeah.
I don't know how far in.
On the report, so we had a couple of projects here. The Berth 1 Dolphin Power, so Channel Electric installed 500 feet of armored cable connecting the end of Berth 1 pier to the Dolphin out there. Was completed. There are some pictures. So instead of just throwing the cable over the side and then running it up the other side, they secured it all the way down the piling, and then they anchored it to the seafloor. Didn't hear him so well. But anyways, that should keep things from chafing too much. They did see on the old cable where it had chafed and it had been drug out into the channel. So it didn't come up around anything. It was straight out from probably where the creek kind of runs there in that current. But definitely had a big old hole inside of it. So that got completed. That was the CIP we had for this year. So that was good. Ride piles on 34. There's pictures of these metal tabs sticking off of those, and that is to keep the Yokohama chains from falling underneath.
What's the Yokohama chain?
So the Yokohama is the big kind of whale-looking bumpers all along the front of the
Oh, the
port.
big black ones that
Big
go,
black ones.
this one?
Yeah. So they're connected on both ends by chain and then a loop around a ride pile that they kind of go up and down on. Those loops will fall underneath the ride piles and get hung up on a beam that goes straight across. So these tabs have been installed. The last time we had to fix the hung up Yokohamas on the floor was like $10,000. And that happens almost every time there's a -2.5 or so. So about once a month we can hang up Yokohamas. These tabs are going to keep those loops from falling down underneath onto the beam. So it costs, I think, just $12,000, a little bit more to get these installed. So if you extrapolate that out over the next 15 years that we're paying for Berk 4, it should save us thousands, hopefully. So we did use Berk 4 Yokohama replacement fund for that. So we had that money.
Yeah.
And then you pick it there. They're all about the same. Port security hiring is complete. I think I finished up on a Saturday. Had a couple high school kids that we did. Final number is going to be right around 44. I know I had said 42, but there was a position added as these little shacks across the way at the tunnel there have gone in. So we're going to have someone that's going to be kind of making sure people aren't darting out into oncoming traffic. That's kind of what the last two spots are, and kind of just waiting on all the HR stuff to get them actually on the port. Berth 1 guard shack, storage shack. Talking with P&D, they're waiting on some measurements. I was talking with Chet Hugo at Public Works today, and he's got an aerial photo, and he's dropping little boxes for exactly what we're going to have to give P&D the measurements. That'll give us. It'll replace the small guard shack. It's about 6 by 6 there. So it'll be a little guard shack in the front end of it, and the back end is going to be all storage. So we have everything stored right now in like 2 little outhouse type things. That's all of our paper products for the bathrooms, which is a lot. Trash bags, we go through about 10 cases of trash bags every 2 or 3 weeks. And then everything else, we just had no storage. So this will give us a spot to store that kind of thing in the summer. And then in the winter, all the water stuff that comes out, because we pull the 6 big water, what we call the fill stations for the ships. They're 6-7 feet long. We store all those indoors to keep them getting beat up. So we'll have that. And then in the summer, it'll be a little workspace too, because we're always tying delineators up, and it's not always nice out. Port infrastructure grant was submitted May 9th. This one's a little bit over 22 million. That would be for cathodic protection on berth 1 and 2. There was also about a $1.2 million project for fixing that little harbor park, that wood park down here off the promenade. That's port asset we learned recently. It's very much in need of repair. So maintenance guys are getting some dudes for quotes down there and try to get that thrown in with it.
Where's the grant from?
This is a port infrastructure grant, and it's Homeland Security, I believe. Yeah. Tug assist. So I think everybody knows the thrusters has been a hot topic for a while now, probably since the promenade shaking kind of noticed last year about this time. So a letter was drafted. There's a copy of it there. It was the communications. Just asking folks to use caution in and when they depart, you know, not to wash out anything further. If you remember, the bathymetric survey showed where there was a loss of overburden and whatnot, and a lot of that was down underneath kind of the food court. Right, because that's just the oldest spot. It could have been muddy stuff. It's gone now, but we are working on getting some sensors, about 8 of them. That's going to be through P&D. Placed all from berth 1 to the end of berth 4 to see what's happening there.
Are those like real time, or you get like a report weekly or monthly, or?
It sounds like they're going to be real time. And if you notice a shift or anything like that, you'd be able to like say, okay, this ship was here at this time. This is what caused it. If it was that, or if it was an earthquake or whatever.
I understand that, you got to make an effort here, but if I was a pilot or a captain and some guy came up to me 2 or 3 weeks after the event and said, you used too much thrusters, I'd say, I was there, you weren't.
Yeah, well, we've had some complaints already from folks. And I talked with cruise line agencies and they liaison with the ship. And one time that someone had a complaint, they were using 20% power, so hardly anything to get off the dock. I made a comment to the city manager, like, probably nobody here has seen full power with these ships. They have so much of it. So 20% probably looks like a lot to you or I operating small vessels. To those guys, it's nothing. So they were, I think, 50 meters offshore before they even bumped up to 40% power, and that's the maximum they got to. They're not using a lot. These are huge ships, and the whole side of them, they're flat. It's a sail. So if it's blowing 15 or 20, which it's been doing all summer, well, not all summer, today was kind of nice, they're going to have to power up to get off safely. But they are cognizant of the problem and what's going on. Letter helps out. Cruise line agencies also does a whole little 2-page spiel for kind of hot topics in each port that they operate in. And in that, there was a section for thrusters, and that was before the season even started. So they're watching it. If we see something that looks odd, we'll ask them and we'll get an answer. See what.
Another question.
Yeah.
Up on number 3 there, those new kiosks that they're putting in, but I don't know if they're active yet or not, but I was out of town, but it doesn't seem like there's very much room for people there.
There's not. I was talking to,
where are they going to put people?
yeah. So the assistant city manager and myself had a conversation yesterday, kind of talking about those. The one on the south end that has the big trolley sign, that one is operational. They have a business license. So that's the only one right now I know that is able to operate. If the people go inside, then they're not on the sidewalk jamming that up. We don't know. They're not finished. So hopefully there's a counter in there where people can go in and get 1, out of the weather, and 2, out of traffic. Yes. See how that goes. It's going to be one of those things I'm going to be monitoring. Hopefully it's not a problem and everything just goes on as normal. Oh, I did number 7. Can I go back to 6? Sorry. Tug assist. Mark Flora had sent a message, an email. I think it was the 10th or 11th of May. I can't remember exactly. It was right in there though, asking about tugs. The answer from Cruise Line is tugs that are on call when ships are in the channel. They have up to 2 kind of on scene pretty quickly. Can't remember what day it was last week, but 4 ships, and each one of them in turn used a tug or had a tug alongside in case they were needed on arrival. And then the ship on 4 that left last actually had a tug tied on, pulling the stern out. So tug assist is a thing, and they do use it. Like that day is more tug use than I've seen in the last 2 years. I've seen it once other where it was really needed. They did it.
Those stevedore tugs,
Yes.
Southeast stevedore.
Yeah. So they do have tugs that are available for the whole channel, so coming all the way down, but they use them right off the port.
Do you think that them using the tugs on that day, the amount that they use them, had anything to do with the letter? Was it just some bad weather?
It was bad weather.
Oh,
Yeah, it was pretty foul. One ship had even talked about the day before canceling already. I mean, in May, late May. It's not normal.
I think I remember that day.
Yeah, I think we all do, right? It's like an inch and a half of rain and it's just snotty.
settle that down.
Any questions?
I guess not relative to your report. I think it's a good report, and I'm impressed that we got some grant applications out, and
I think that was the beginning.
Yeah, that would be, that would be big.
So needed.
Yeah.
Be able to get caught up on stuff and work on the repairs and replacements and then move on to improvements.
Is that like competitive or,
Yeah,
so,
so we'll see.
okay.
I mean, if we don't get, especially the grant for the cathodic protection, we're gonna have to see something else. Luckily, the port is making money. We have money in the bank and this year's gonna bring in a good little chunk. So if we had to, we could start a project at least and span it over a couple of years and get the cathodic protection done. It'd be nice not to have.
Yeah.
It might be in the cards.
what might happen.
What happens to, I was just wondering, what happens to these transients that come in and there's no place for them? They're on their own, huh?
Yeah, anchor up. Gentleman that was speaking earlier, I've had probably 3 or 4 conversations just in the last week with charter fishermen in particular about parking. Part of the problem is, I think my first year I was here, we did like 4 or 5 times lightering, so a vessel at anchor and then coming in. Last year we were able to do it where we had a ship that was anchored out and there was only one ship on 1 and 2, and we pulled them forward enough that we could lighter to Rias, which is probably rarely used by charter guys. This year it's once or twice a week. We have lightering and it's all 2 for 3, which eats up, that space right below Sockeye Sands, which is pretty popular. With smaller charter boats, 30 footers or so, you can fit like 3 of them there. So one guy was like, well, make this space longer in the summer, move some of those other folks out and have some space. That was his suggestion. I don't know. There's not a great answer, I don't think, because we just don't have space, period.
What's the difference in revenue if you're gonna leave a spot accessible for dropping people off versus somebody paying to be moored there?
Probably you're going to lose money. Because everybody that's going to those yellow zones, whether it's daily float way down by Allen Marine or, Rias float by Tongass, Sockeye Sands, all those, there's like 6 spots. They're going to have a pass. You have to have a pass. So they've already got it. They just don't have a spot to go,
And that pass is paid for?
Yeah, it's the same as a vehicle access pass for the ports, all the buses. It's those little placards that stick in the windshield. So the charter guys have it the same. They put it on the driver's side, either in the front or along the right-hand side.
Good.
So
So
when-
Allen Marine has them, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so everybody, Aleutian Ballot has it. Just need another harp. That's it.
So he mentioned the seabird. When vessels like the seabird come in, they take priority over those
Yeah,
passes.
so you have the Seabird, the Sea Lion, and then all the uncruised boats.
One of the pocket cruisers.
Not the hovercrafts?
No, so they're like multi-day, they're like little cruise ships, like,
Yeah.
you remember Uncruise, or not Uncruise, but Cruise West?
And the geographic,
Yeah, so similar type thing, yeah. So,
Excursion class, I guess they think they call
yeah.
So those guys get priority, same as lightering. So when we do have like the Carnival Miracles out there and they're running 4 to 6 lifeboats back and forth,
Right.
and they'll put 2 down there because they have so many people. It takes up that whole space. It's very popular. It's easy. You know, bird 3 right there. You can bring your people from bird 4 if you have to.
Might be an interesting public comment next meeting.
Yeah, yeah, because there's definitely some opinions on it.
Well, and I can understand the perspective.
Yeah.
Are you, you don't mind? Are you ready for Thursday?
Oh yeah.
That'll be an all-time record, correct?
Is that it? It's like almost 20,000 or something.
Yeah, 19,000 something.
Yeah, we're good. I have a really, really good crew. I was gone for like right after the last meeting. I left that next morning because I had a graduation to go to in Idaho, and so it was the first 4-shift day or maybe 5-shift day I was gone for. My crew's pretty good. They can handle everything. Like I said, we're gonna have the meeting tomorrow with the whole crew, so like 40 people, and then the next day we're gonna have the supervisors. We're gonna get everybody on the same page, make sure it's happening, so we don't have to deal with stuff like that.
Right. Handicap zones, are those required?
Yeah.
So that wouldn't be a drop-off point, that would be a handicap zone that allows, dedicated moorage, temporary moorage.
I think it's a handicap zone in the open moorage.
Right.
So isn't that how it is? That's why he can tie up there for.
And stay.
Oh, okay. So it's not specifically handicap, or do they have, does handicap have priority?
Yes.
Okay.
It's kind of like it's a handicap zone, but in open moorage because he's just using an open moorage permit or.
I think so. That one down in City Club, right at the bottom of that 3rd ramp.
I mean, all of that whole harbor down there is pretty much open moorage, or
Yeah.
so.
Not all
There's-
the ways.
Other than it being close to the ramp, there's nothing special about the dock right there, is it?
It's got blue paint.
And it's got blue paint, but there's no like. It's just got cleats. It's not. But I mean, it's not like.
No, it's the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could take out the blue paint and it wouldn't be any different than the rest of it.
All right. Future agenda items.
I have a question. The float plane dock, are private boats allowed to tie up there? I mean, short term, not, obviously not long term, but to drop people off, pick people up at the airport?
Oh, over on that other side?
Yeah,
I was actually talking to cruise lines 2 days ago about putting like the American Constellation over there. I'm not sure what it is.
last
Borough
summer,
asset.
I had some people that want to go to the airport, and I always had been told that private boats could not tie up at the floatplane dock, so I dropped them off at the other dock, the one on this side, and man, did I get reamed out.
When I was guiding, we came through Ketchikan and we tied up there at least over
Which one,
9 once.
the
On
float?
the northern.
Oh, the northern one. Yeah, some security guy at the airport just reamed me up one side and down the other, and I didn't even tie up. I just pulled in and dropped them off. And
There's a finger on the north end of the
float plane.
floatplane dock. Yeah.
He said I should have gone to the float plane dock, and I said I always thought that was a no-no.
There's a little section. There's like a little finger that on the north end of it for boats, but anywhere else they get.
All of 20 feet long.
Yeah, it's not.
That's not gonna.
It's not
do
that
much
big.
good. I'll say back into it.
The borough of One Harbor.
Yeah.
Sure. Yep.
So that float over there is Burrow, right?
Yeah,
It's not you.
not us.
Cause they used to, when Bullet had his little taxi, they'd tie up to the south end of it, was common.
All the time. I used them every time I came to Ketchikan.
Yeah, I've dropped off people there from my house.
Smart.
Never got any
Sorry.
static.
Yeah, I meant on the south end, not the north.
Yeah.
Yeah. So any future agenda items other than the loading zone one? So we have a discussion about the loading zone. Do you think like we could possibly in our meeting packets get like, you know, your little color
Yeah,
maps
same
that show
like
where all
that,
the zones are.
where all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that. Anything else you think you guys might need for that? We do have signage down there. I can snap some pictures of that. It's really,
I don't know if, he didn't really suggest like any action items that he wanted. It sounded
Yeah.
like he just wanted,
what you'll see
discussion,
is
you know.
not a lot of it. And, one of the really good spots is Daily Float, which is way down on one. So you're not going to use it if you're picking people up off the ship on berth 4.
Mhm.
So there's just not a lot for whatever the area your ship is in to pick up usually. And Rias Float, now is almost unusable unless there's no ship on 2. So they'll just cover it up. Can't have someone in there when there's no space. We do have people that will, if the ship's far enough down, charter guys will come in and use it, but it's very, very rare this year anyways. Last year was more frequent.
There's probably a fair amount of charter boats. I mean, we have Baranoff skiffs or whatever it is, they have their own, but then there's a lot of independent charter boats that, shoot, it must be quite a few of them.
It
Yeah,
is.
but
We
also
could
covers
probably
like
get-
all the, like Alan Marine, the hovercrafts,
Yeah,
They're all-
they have their own spots.
well, but except for like when you down here at berth 3 and 4, they're all using the charter loading zone. It's
Oh,
not just
even-
like fishing charters, it's all the,
Oh, even the hovercraft? and-
Yeah, basically
Oh.
any vessel for hire.
yeah,
Okay.
any vessel for hires that.
I guess that would make sense, otherwise you'd have to bus them to their location.
Yeah. Yeah, so the Ballad, Alan Marine, some of the bigger ones, the hovercrafts, they all have passes.
Well, so at select times it gets busy. But then sometimes it's,
Sure.
Yeah, it's the mornings where it's rough.
Well, the 4-hour charters, you got first thing in the morning and then you got around the noon time or whatever.
Yeah, whenever they're back. Morning's definitely the worst. But he's right, they are good about going into berth 4. They don't go in until the lines are up. Then they'll sneak in underneath it. And the finger is pretty good. You can get 3 to 4 boats between the ship and the safely. And they all pull forward and behave. And charter guys tend to be better at pulling forward and getting out of the way of other guys than like buses on the port that just park where they want to.
so is that it for agenda items? So, board member comments.
I got my questions answered.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, May, for all the info. Great.
Yeah, as usual, thank you, sir.
That was me.
Thanks to the whole staff, all the staff. Did I see on the news that FEMA was starting to think about limiting cruise ships?
They
They're
have,
past, I think the boat field though, I thought. Like yesterday or they had some kind of boat ever.
I haven't heard. Yeah, they were definitely on their way. And Sitka's are right behind.
Yeah, I know Sitka was pretty vocal in pushing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we wanted one day and look what happened.
Yeah.
We filled the room.
That's why, I mean, 19,000 and then add to that about probably 8,000 or 9,000 crew members on the boats.
Crew members.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's gonna be crazy. I
Which
wonder
day-
how the
which day is
celebration's gonna be. Thursday.
Good. I'll make sure I don't go anywhere.
Can I say one more thing? I'm so sorry.
yeah.
I brought show and tell.
I was wondering what that was.
Okay, so this is what happens when Yokohamas get hung up. So this is the eye for the swivel or for the shackle that connects the chain to the right pile. So this part here down on the bottom, I don't want to touch it, it's something crazy. Screws right into the Yokohama. So there's one on each end. Then they get hung up and they wear. And we replaced 2 of these. By we, I mean Andrew Dorn and the maintenance guys. This afternoon, we had 2 break free and like adjacent to each other down on berth 1. We went down there on Monday morning and 2 Yokohamas were kind of swinging out in the channel. So weren't able to get the chain on this afternoon. There was a ship there, so they went in, but they did get the swivel eyes here replaced. This is the one that was better. The other one was snapped clean off. We were looking around at the other Yokohamas that we could see kind of right in that area, and there's more that are going. These are about $260 a pop. So we're 10. But when the Yokohamas get hung up, that's what starts to happen is they wear really fast.
Those things must be pretty tough
Yeah.
if that bears the brunt.
So,
Wow.
that's why we want those ears, those tabs on the ride piles to keep it going down. And then once we get the replacements in, those chains will be different length, a better length. So it won't be a problem. And we have in the CIPs for the next 2 years, replacement of Yokohamas on Brick 1 and 2.
Okay.
It's a thing.
I think it's your turn if you have.
Any comments? I just have one thought. So in the loading zones, you said, handicap has priority.
The handicap zones.
That, okay, oh, the handicap zone. So if if there's nobody at the handicap zone and you pull in, the handicap guy can come in behind you and kick you out.
Is that how it works?
I'm not sure.
I think the thing is there's a handicap zone. It's not in the port. It's not in the port loading zone. It's in the harbor.
Okay.
And the harbor open moorage. And you have one boat with a handicap sticker that is using it just like open moorage and has been tied up there for a year and a half because it's open moorage. So as long as, or however long it's been. So that's what that comment was about is because
Okay.
there's,
Huh.
but it's the same as if a liveaboard or someone else tied their boat up down there and it's first come, first serve. You know, they just, because they have a handicap sticker, they get an extra first come, first serve dibs on that thing.
And
So
the same guy's been there for,
for a while, yeah.
Yeah, I've been walking by.
smart guy.
Yeah.
Or is that, are you done? Or,
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. all right. I guess my comments just thank you. And May, were you responsible for the fancy signs?
Yeah.
Youngblood requested names.
I didn't know who was who, so I asked her. I thought you would just make paper tags.
Yeah, the problem is, I still don't know who's who.
Front and back.
Yeah.
But no, that was really nice. Thank you.
It looks really nice.
Yeah.
It's official.
Professional.
Good job.
And thank you. And thanks for, and thanks ahead of time for next month's meeting.
Yeah. The 16th, right? Yeah.
Where's your name? Okay.
She's waiting for the director's thanks. Whoever's sitting
Gotcha.
permanently gets to have that.
So with that, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.